Greetings. This is a follow-on to my earlier discussion of Aaron Rodgers and his hard count wizardry. Um, this is a three-stage video. The first stage is cleaning up some issues that I found in research relative to my initial statements. The second phase is further insight that might be interesting. And the final phase is a prediction of what's going to happen next because of phases 1 and 2. So the first phase is Aaron Rodgers and the best hard count in the league. So what we covered was the fact that he has the best hard count. And what I was surprised by was, and sort of the new data, is not only does he have the best hard count, but part of the reason he has the best hard count is he rewatches his game and listens to his games from different angles to determine whether or not he's giving away things during a game that might impact his ability to succeed. So in my earlier video, I was having discussions about people having to go back to old video to have a better grasp of how to anticipate him. And I think that's an error. And the error is that he actually watches his own video, old and new, to determine if there are tendencies that defenders might be wanting to get after. The second cleanup of my analysis was that I sort of was intrigued by the whole 12-man situation and catching them on the field. I went through a process of watching him counting and wondered why would somebody bother with counting as he was doing. So my first reaction was, he doesn't need to count, that's ridiculous. My second reaction was, he's continuing to count. And I was thinking that even if he did count, Dallas is too smart. And having watched his 12-man catch situation, to be caught in that situation. And obviously I was wrong. Dallas had a 12-man on the field. It gave them a first down. It not only did that, but it also put Dallas on notice that they couldn't make changes that would be optimized relative to offensive personnel or what down and distance was without potentially getting called for a penalty. And so it further put Dallas on edge in their process of defending him. So those are a couple of cleanups, in particular the fact that it's not just a casual thing that he's good at the hard count. He practiced it under Brett Favre for 3 years. He continues to analyze his own video for small and large tendencies that defenders might be able to pick up. And so it should be no surprise when Dallas got caught on at least one hard count situation, as well as getting caught on 12 men on the field, that this is part of his game, and it's part of his game that also puts pressure on the opposing team to manage their personnel with this in mind. The next phase I'd like to go into, is other insights into how and why Aaron Rodgers is a superior quarterback. Prior to watching Dallas versus Green Bay, obviously, I was really surprised to learn that there was a huge issue on the table, and that is, how do you deal with Ezekiel Elliott? I didn't think the Green Bay Packers could do it, but there is an answer that's part of the Bill Walsh offense. So for those of you who remember, Bill Walsh and the Niners had a problem. The problem they had was that they had an excellent quarterback, receivers, etc., but their productivity in the running game was actually kind of low. So what they did was they created short passes became the running game that they didn't have, and that allowed them to service that well. Another aspect of that short passes, which is a de facto running game, is when you run, you tire out defenders, number one. Number two, you chew up clock time. And number three, you're sort of hunting for the opportunity to sort of roll over the defense. So even if the other team can talk about having a terrific offense, as was the case with Dallas and will be the case if they make it to the Super Bowl through, which I think they will, through Atlanta and then through, you know, hopefully the Steelers. The challenge is you can have as good an offense as you want. It's hard for them to score when they're on the bench. And so Rodgers really represents that. So the final phase of what I wanted to cover was looking at his process as a quarterback and what it yields. You'll notice on most of his big plays, um, he was throwing usually with one man covering the guy he's dealing with. So um, Aaron Rodgers, because he's such a good quarterback, he can place the ball left, right, long distance, short distance to his receivers. It's typically the case that you try to at least put two defenders on whoever his most likely receivers are. And what this pushes to is the fact that the bigger wide receiver defenders or the bigger tight ends are hard to cover in this manner because they can use their size to wall off defenders and they can get up higher than the shorter defenders, usually in the defensive backfield. So I expect that this is just going to be another game in that situation. Um, the other issue that pops up is why is it that Aaron Rodgers often ends up moving the pocket for another extra 3 to 4 seconds with him and one lineman blocking for him against one defender trying to get him? And the answer is simple. When you can throw like he can in many different sides of receivers to get the job done, all of those defenders have to go out, and it doesn't leave that many linemen there to defend. So my assessment of the situation is that um, he has a reasonable chance, like 70%, of winning the next 2 games to win the Super Bowl, particularly if he can get his guys, to really just do their jobs and no more. Um, Again, this was a continuation of a discussion about Aaron Rodgers and the fact that his hard count is the best in the league. He leverages that hard count along with things like game awareness to catch 12 men on the field and other techniques most quarterbacks don't in order to take a team that's not considered that great much further than it would have gone. And as you listen and watch his co-players, they recognize that these details are important, both get buy-in and implement accordingly because they recognize how important those details are for a championship team. Best of luck to Green Bay. Still a Jets fan? Please have other thoughts that might be helpful. And all of this, I think, is instructive even for young players in how you start to mentally, if you will, torture competitors even before you get on the field in them trying to figure out what your game plan might be.